Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video, and today we are going to have a look at the rank 1 Chinese SYLAS player. And he, ladies and gentlemen, does have quite good mechanics, as you guys will see. Now, SYLAS is a champion that I have put quite a bit of work into as well. I'm absolutely under the impression that SYLAS is very, very difficult. However, I think that SYLAS also can be really straightforward and easy. Now, it very heavily depends on the matchup. And it also depends on some factors, right? So, for example, if you go for a Q max or a Q second, then SYLAS becomes much more difficult as the damage that he does becomes much more reliant on skill and on good comboing. So here, by the way, very quick thing to point out, right? He finds a trait level 2 here, right? So you will see that he goes in here at level 1, and then his AoE will finish off the creep, giving him a level 2 that then he can use with a fully stacked W, by the way. To get the winning trade, right? Very important part of SYLAS is you want to use your W after you've taken some damage, optimally as late as you can, with still being able to use it before the enemy ignites. And very important part, you want to use it so that you can get potentially multiple off in a fight. So it's a very complicated question in each matchup, when to use your W and how. Because oftentimes you will only get one ability off, but then sometimes you can get multiple off and so on and so forth. So here you see him combo the way, this is very simple, right? He's comboing in a way that the Q detonation, which whenever you look at a SYLAS player and you look at how good they are, don't do this with me. You just see whether or not they place the Q explosion well. Here, it does tag the Echo. And that's because he combos in a way that Echo is slowed when he wants to dodge the ability and doesn't really have a chance to dodge it. So very good comboing, of course. It's very basic, but here, again, you see it, right? The Q is placed and Yone flashes it, but we are keeping up the auto attacks here, keeping up the Conqueror. Very important if you don't have your abilities currently. Sometimes, especially versus champions that don't have Conqueror or that are just under immense pressure, like this Yone, then keeping up just the auto attacks to keep up the Conqueror can be very important, as your abilities scale very hard with Conqueror stacks. So the Q placement, very important in melee lanes, but also important in range lanes. It's probably the easiest in melee lanes and can be very difficult. The thing with Yone, for example, is that you can predict his Q. So if he ends up queuing forward, you can place your Q in a way that it will tag him with the aftershock and the slow, and he takes increased damage. Now, right now we are going for the W max. This is because SYLAS right now is balanced around the W max, so it is his strongest max, barring a couple of matchups where a Everfrost into Q max can be a little bit better, as it just, you know, some matchups you just are not allowed to get in range, and then that can be really good. So here you see him space it out, by the way, right? So what he did here is he created a little bit of space in order to be able to hit that Yone R correctly. It's very good, right? And very important part of SYLAS is to understand which ultimate you can use when. Now, laning phase wise, this has been a very simple laning phase. No tricks have been applied. Nothing really happens. The only thing that he did is he gave Yone the push pressure level 1, as Yone does out damage him. Took a very quick trade though to reduce some of Yone's HP, and then just ran out. Here it would appear that he roamed. Now he will be back to the mid lane. This is also very important. A SYLAS specific thing is oftentimes after killing your laner or using their ultimate, you kind of do want to roam and impact the map a little bit, because you get multiple benefits out of it, and one of them being your ultimate will be still on cooldown. Their ultimate, right? Unless you're playing versus Lux. Their ultimate might still be on cooldown, so you want to scout out the jungler or go bot lane, or, you know, check anything out like that. Maybe go to top lane and grab some ultimates there and just kind of see, right? So SYLAS very special in that sometimes he just has, for example, this, right? He just like kind of wants to trade in order to get rid of the cooldown, but still get some value out of the cooldown. And yeah, I mean, SYLAS here, okay, this is very important again, right? Look at his Q placement here. He places the Q because he knows Echo is going to jump into range. So here he already gets a maximum damage trade-off. This is incredible damage given the fact that he hasn't even used his E. Now, Yone doesn't really know that. I mean, Yone, if he looks carefully, then he knows that he didn't use his W. But here, you can see, he now slips out with the E and now has the chain to finish up different situations, right? He could go for the Echo here, as Echo doesn't have the ultimate, yeah? Finish that one off, right? And you can see that here, he is not using his first E to get his second E, which a lot of people do a lot of the time. I do as well sometimes. He uses his E to get his second, to dodge a skill shot, and then uses the second E to gap close still, right? So this is the reason why SYLAS probably one of the most difficult champions to play when it comes to this. Is like Akali is difficult, but I would say that SYLAS is potentially more difficult, depending on the matchup, but potentially also much easier, right? Because there are matchups where you go for Emax, for example, like here, right? Where with Emax, it's much easier to get maximum damage, to outplay situations, and then you can just stupidly run into people and just press W on them repeatedly and just win. So there are definitely matchups that are very nasty and very SYLAS favored. And generally, SYLAS is a very strong champion. I think he's a very good versus all. I think he's one of the best one-trick build champions. I think Akali is also one of them, right? Where they all have options in laning phase. And if you are a one-trick, even the most counter builds, you can do quite a bit against. Once you understand that, for example, Qmax Everfrost is a thing. Qmax Everfrost, pretty nasty for, well, yeah, allowing you to stun people, hold them in place, and then just kind of like damage poke them, right? And then just run away with your E. Okay, I mean, Yone at this point is just running down the game. You can see here we are absolutely not relenting. And I mean, yeah, SYLAS damage ramps up very hard. Don't make the mistake though, right? As a other popular caster would say, don't get it twisted. SYLAS not a early game powerhouse, although he is a very strong champion. He does have incredible scalings, so he becomes a very formidable force. Early on, he lacks consistent damage, which then eventually, once the cooldowns are there, he will get. And a very key difference here, by the way, between this guy and, for example, someone like Zeke, would be that what Zeke is able to do is Zeke goes for a more scaling and passive approach to SYLAS, where he gets the Rod of Ages, just plays slowly, right, and just kind of macros up. This guy seems to be much more aggressive, right? Everfrost, a incredibly strong tool for the SYLAS. And here you can see, yeah, we are absolutely just abusing the enemy team on the course of the W, and just, I mean, you know, the longer a fight goes, if SYLAS doesn't die, he just gets crazy high value out of it. So one thing that, for example, itemization wise, right, that you can do is, for example, build Abyssal Mask versus heavy AP damage enemies. And you become a disgusting champion. It's a crazy strong item. It's like a budget abyssal. It's a budget. Void stuff, right? That gives you MR and gives you HP, and it helps you get your W out even more, and thus just can like keep you at that point that Warwick can be at as well, where it's just like why does it not die? It just like it's crazy, right? But here this guy going for much more of a AP heavy carry approach, still running the Conqueror, so you know he's not going for the full one-shot Sylas that we've seen a lot in, for example, the jungle. But he will still go for, yeah, here you see him combo the Q into Everfrost, right? Disables the enemy to dodge it. And here we can just place Q in a second, and the Yone is dead. Well, we didn't place Q, but, you know, it's fine. Could have been played a little bit more optimally there. And, well, yeah, we're just running it down. This is a Masters game, by the way, or Grandmaster even. No, Master. This is a Masters game on the Chinese server, and this guy is an absolute fucking beast. And I'm planning to do more longer casts again, but I've been, like, recently, I've been kind of just... I've been kind of focusing on grinding a league a lot. So I'm currently in the situation of, like, you know, creating a little bit less long form content that takes super long to create. And just kind of trying to find a balance between that and streaming a lot as well. So tell me what you like more, whether or not you like the long or the short videos. I personally would assume people like longer ones, more drawn out casts more, but I also know that I'm not, you know, a majority type of guy, right? I'm a person that doesn't do that much like standard short form content watching. I tend to watch very long casts and stuff like that. And yeah, so little different taste. So do tell me what you like. But yeah, and to get one point, I think this is a mandatory point to make. Sylas looks absolutely amazing, but it is about 1,000 games you can expect until you can play Sylas, and to get to this level, you can probably expect like 2K games or whatever. So you know, this is not easy work. It looks easy, it's not. And well, thank you very much for watching. But if you're lower elo and you wanna pick him up, I would suggest you hit Platinum first, maybe on a champion like the Talon. Might I suggest Talon or Fizz? Those probably going to serve you a little bit better. Then try to hit Platinum, maybe low Diamond. And then you can start practicing the Sylas. Go down onto a lower rank account. Practice the Sylas there. And then you're good. This is what I should have done much earlier. This is what I started doing, and it works out very well. And then also at that point you have multiple champions in your repertoire, which is always good, right? Having like a very easy champion in your repertoire is very good, because that champion will stay with you forever, right? If you learn the Annie, you learn the Fizz, you can always whip them out in a pinch, right? So thanks for watching. I will see you guys in the next one, and stay awesome.